Nicholson and Peter Muddy McGrath, they come through and take the win in the Newcastle 222 racing. And we've got some problems here. There's a problem for Maritimo 12. They've slowed right down. And this is absolutely devastating for this particular crew. G'day everybody and welcome to this week's show. We are at round number 2 of the Australian Offshore Superboat Championships here at beautiful Lake Macquarie. Specifically, we're at Marmong Point Marina. Big thank you to Les Binkin and his team there, and doesn't it look absolutely superb. We're so excited with Destination New South Wales on board as a major supporter of this event. We had a fantastic time racing here last season, and we are looking forward to being here again for round number 2 of the Offshore Superboat Championships. Teams preparing in the pits as we speak, and we have got a great field. So far after round 1, we look at the outboard category, and we've got the Phantom sitting on top of the table with 88 Power Zone sitting in second place. Supercat Extreme and the team from 222, the local team here this weekend, sitting on top of the table with everything before them. Maritimo 11 and Maritimo 12 after some mechanical issues out in third at the moment. And the Oz 1 Australian Overall Championship, we've got 222 sitting on top of the table there quite comfortably at the moment. Back to the Phantom, the Power Zone, then it's the Maritimo 11 and the Maritimo 12 with a little bit of work to do. As with previous years, the Lake Macquarie round of the Offshore Superboat Championships has enjoyed a tremendous support from the New South Wales Government via Destination New South Wales, as well as the Lake Macquarie City Council and Marmong Point Marina. The marina has once again welcomed the teams to its little slice of paradise on the outskirts of the New South Wales Hunter Valley with open arms, making this event one of the busiest on their calendar.
To have this on the lake's amazing, mate. The lake is alive. If you look around the foreshore up the northern end of Lake Macquarie, there's something going on in every corner. What it means to Marmong Point Marina, you know, we have over a couple of thousand people run through this site a day here over this event, which is amazing. The boats look fantastic again. Had some good racing yesterday, but 2 races today. It's going to be awesome. Yeah, we combined it this year with the Australian Poker Run, which supports MS. And yeah, we raised $25,000 last night or over the weekend for MS, which is awesome. Yeah, we put a tent and a beer tent up there in the marina, and the guys hung out there all day, and we've got some music over on the foreshore over here that'll be running all day as well.
The boat seems quite good at the moment. We've got new engines in it this year, done by John Barbagallo in Queensland, so they seem to be okay. Could always do a bit more, but credit to Pete and the crew. It's nice and reliable. We all run the same block, same pistons, and the heads have to be spec'd to the American rules, so we can go to American race. And we technically they're 750, and it comes down to the skill of the engine builder, and they're all probably running about 800 horsepower.
Honestly, they've been flat out the whole time since Bowen. Kurt and Andrew have just been absolutely long hours. 2 boats to get on the water, and yeah, so here we are. And being with Tom, it's amazing to be part of the whole crew, but we're all out there to get that number 1 spot, so see how we go.
Well, this little boat we developed up for the American Superboat class, and we're hoping that one day we can take it back over and get another World Championship with that in that class. And as you know, they just run the number 6 drive, so that's why we're running these drives over here.
Oh, I've been pretty lucky, Visho, to get in there. The guys from Maritimo have been fortunate enough to ask us to come along and jump in it. I haven't actually driven this boat before, so it was the first time yesterday with Ken, so yeah, it's good. Mate, I'm always there to help out, and that's, I guess, I'm pretty fortunate, and that's why they bring me along as well, and I get to drive the boat. It's quite I think it's why they asked me to come along as well and drive them.
LPI's been really busy, Dave. We've just been tied up overseas, but thankfully we've been able to find time in the calendar to come and race here at this wonderful event, Lake Macquarie, put on by the OSC. So we've got the big Blue here with Carl Wall and myself and the rest of the guys. It's our first hit out back in Australia for this team. So we got a third yesterday. We're a little bit disappointed with some of the performance, but I've got a great team here and they're going to work really hard to get us back up and running for the next 2 rounds today.
Yeah, well, it's a new generation Shifty Cat, 30 foot long, lovely big wide tunnel. We're hoping it'll be a really good weapon. It'll be a little bit of trial and error, but she's sort of on the money at the moment. But first real time in the water this weekend.
No changes for us, Bisho. We just keep doing the same thing we've been doing. The boat's been very reliable, so we're just keeping it that way. Showing good pace, so we're pretty happy and looking forward to this weekend's racing. Just maintenance. So each season we pull the engines off, give them a refresh, give them a little bit of a rebuild, give everything a once over and make sure it's all good, because obviously reliability is key for us. So yeah, we just keep it on track and keep it upright.
The boat went okay, but we got a little issue. It's just very doughy. Top speed was good, but we were certainly down on acceleration. So look, not 100% sure we're going to go down in prop size today to try and just pick up a little bit of acceleration. But yeah, look, it wasn't as good as we hoped it would go.
We actually came up to do the poker run yesterday, so we cruised around with the guys from Nautilus Insurance that were organising the poker run. That was a bit of fun for MS, which was a really good result. We just cruised around and followed the crowd with that, and then sort of invited to race, and they found some room to fit us in as such. So yeah, sort of just came up to do the poker run, and hopefully we'll get out and do some racing today.
Well, look, we go in the same setup because we're a bit heavier because we've got two races and we can't refuel between races. So we're not changing a thing, and we're in pole position 3 today. So we'll just see how it goes. It's the next 10 minutes, so we've got a little bit of time to sort ourselves out and get everyone else out of the way. And so, we're looking forward to it. It's like, who knows what'll happen.
Yeah, we had a bit of a steering issue yesterday, and hopefully we've sorted that out, and yeah, we'll be good to go today. Oh yeah, we had a little bit of an incident last year in Mackay where we rolled her over, trying to get out of the way of one of the big boys. But that's racing, mate. So yeah, Tay's fantastic. So yeah, we're all good to go, mate.
Well, race number 1, slight change in format this time around with Lake Macquarie, with having a race on the Saturday afternoon instead of the pole position shootout, which was certainly very interesting. The conditions are quite challenging at the moment, quite windy, and we're getting rain and sun. Almost feel like we're in Melbourne at the moment, not beautiful New South Wales in the Hunter Valley. Have a look at the shot, so looks absolutely magnificent. Teams getting ready to go with the highlights there of race number 1, of course, coming up, and it was a particularly interesting day. A slightly shorter track than what we would normally see on this particular course. In 3rd place, we had Teams Hog's Breath. Now, this boat is the replacement boat now for the Phantom, so boys doing a fantastic job. First shakedown run for that particular boat with Paul Folds and, of course, Mickey Walker. Then it was the Ethel boys, Michael and Griff. They ran up into 2nd place in the 88 power zone. That boat will be very, very suited to the conditions here today and will do a great job. Then it was the brand new boat out of Victoria taking 1st place, and it was Scotty Richardson and Steve Kelly in the TCR Offshore Racing entry. Did a fantastic job in that particular boat, and they'll only get stronger. Team Australia too, great to see them back on the circuit with Carl Wall and Brett Lerman. They picked up a 3rd place for their efforts in race number 1. Then it was back to 2nd place, so local heroes Darren Nicholson and Peter Muddy McGrath in the 222 offshore, and taking out the win in race number 1 here Saturday afternoon at Lake Macquarie was Maritimo 11 with the 2 Willerton boys, Andrew and Ross, father-son combination there. This boat goes like a shot dog. They're going to be very, very hard to beat here this weekend. So the excitement level's incredibly high here at Lake Macquarie, and I must say that the crowd and the town just turn out en masse to watch these beautiful offshore superboats, and we've got boats lifting themselves up out of the water. This is a very, very short run down into the first chute, and I reckon they will be very tight getting off the line. Paul Gibbs, our official starter in the Hog's Breath start boat, hasn't got a long way to try and get them to run. The boats will come up onto the plane. You can see the white flag now on the Hog's Breath machine. Maritimo 11 on the far outside, and you just have a look at them there. Team Australia on the outside of them, and I think 222 in the mix there as well. We can't actually see the start flag, but it's going to be a slow off the mark start as we go on board with Tom Barry-Cotter and Steve Jellick. You'll see the hammers go down, oh no, Tom Barry-Cotter just pulls Steve Jellick's hand back a little bit. He must have said, no, we're not ready to go yet. Now we go. So we're racing in this race number 2, round number 2 of the Australian Offshore Superboat Championships here at mighty Lake Macquarie. 10 boats facing the starters. The front grid is the inboard boats. The second grid is the outboard boats, and you can see the spray as we go on board the deck of Maritimo 11. This boat is slightly smaller than the rest of the field. It is 36 foot long, and it runs a pair of Mercury number 6 outdrives, which is something that none of the other boats in the fleet run. As we get a shot now of how our teams are going, and that is picking up now on Maritimo 12. Tom Barry-Cotter and Steve Jellick. This is the SUV Sinrad, this is Conante Salamitis, and this is drama for the Evinrude E-Tech powered machine as they come to a halt. It looks as though they didn't even get off the start. We'll try and pick them up as we go on board TCR, Team Colonel Racing, Scotty Richardson and Steve Kelly. These guys are hard chargers, and this is first OSC round for this particular boat. And have a look at them. They've actually got a good little break there on the Saracen. You can see to your right of screen, which is the other Victorian crew. There's going to be no love lost between these crews. That's Matt Kelly and Anthony DeFeeder, and of course his brother Steve in the TCR boat. So that's going to be an interesting battle to watch. The battle now for 4th place at the moment. This is really interesting as well. Big Kenny Tree, the KKR Transport. He's got Travis Thompson on the throttles, and this is Kenny's 2nd race ever, doing a beautiful job, and he's got his work cut out for him, because on the side of those guys is Brett Lerman and Carl Wall in the Team Australia 2, the Big Blue Roo, racing for Lockie out there at the moment. And this is tight racing. You can see the rooster tail, and you can see Kenny Tree. You can see his hand just working the wheel there. How much input is he giving that into the port turn? This is down the bottom of the Lake Macquarie course, and they're in the wash of the boats just in front of them as well. You can actually see in the background the absolute gaggle of outboard boats all in hunting in a pack at the moment as they charge down through the bottom of the course. Local hero now, Darren Nicholson. He lives here on Lake Macquarie, and that's his beautiful 222 machine there. They're sitting atop of the points table at the moment. Peter Muddy McGrath on the throttles. As we say that, there we go. There's the big Kiwi man himself. Just look at him. Very smooth conditions, and that means that right hand just resting on the throttles, and he has got them down as far as they'll go. Once the throttles are pushed that far down, you're doing about 130 miles an hour, or nearly 200 kilometres an hour. And I'll tell you what, we're not careful, Muddy might just fall asleep there. He looks like he's just casually cruising, just getting it done. Not much conversation going on the boat. They know what they need to do. Darren Nicholson wants to try and get the job done here. They do have a Maritimo boat in front of them, and they're going to want to try and make up the ground on that boat. The Catherine Hill Bay entry doing a nice job. And this boat here, another brand new entry, and this is a really interesting boat. These guys have been invited. It's David Simmons and, of course, Stuart Ralph on board the Niz Pro Marine entry. This is the Doug Wright designed machine, and this is a former boat of Matt Humphrey and, of course, Simon Isherwood. And, of course, last season, or the season before last, it actually ran as the R Marine boat. So it is running a pair of supercharged 450 horsepower 4-stroke Yamaha outboards on the back of this boat, and what a run these boys will have. So let's see what they can do, but we go back on board now with Kenny Tree and Travis Thompson looking backwards in the KKR Transport entry, and you can just see the rooster tail of the Big Blue Roo on your left of screen there, and they are having a terrific battle. I tell you what, welcome to offshore racing, Kenny Tree, because you are locked in a battle with two of the best in the business in Carl Wall there and Brett Lerman. As you see the turn boy just dash past them. Battle for the lead in the outboard is going on. We haven't even picked up on the outboards yet, but it's a hog's breath who have got a little bit of a break on this little rocket ship here. Michael and Griffith Thal with the 2.5 litre Mercuries on the 88 power zone. There we go, on board with these guys now. This boat is absolutely immaculately prepared. It is the shortest boat in this fleet of outboard boats, and look at Michael just absolutely working the wheel there. That boat dancing from sponson to sponson. It's super quick, it's super light, and it's a short little boat, so they are working overtime. But I think the conditions at the moment a little bit bumpy, but still to their liking. It's not too rough for them to not get this boat just skipping up over the tops of the waves. So they're really giving the new Hog's Breath machine a run for their money at the moment. The Hog's Breath machine, it is the new 29-foot Shifty Cat, the replacement for the Phantom boat. Mick Walker and Paul Folds in that particular machine, and they'll be very, very happy being out in front in the brand new boat. KKR Transport just pops its nose into the front, and now we go on board with said boat. So this is actually the Hog's Breath machine. Have a look at Mickey Walker. He's thinking about what time he has to milk the cows, and he needs to shut that gate on the back paddock, and Folesey's just getting it done, isn't he? Look at Folesey just looking out the window. You wouldn't think these guys were leading this race at the moment. Brand spanking new boat. It's running a pair of 3.2 litre Mercury strokers on the back of this boat, and a little bit of chit chat going on, just very minimalist, isn't it? The cockpit in this boat just got the roll cage, the full carbon cockpit, and you can see the Vessel View, Mercury Vessel View 7, which is the only gauge you've got in the boat. It's a full touch screen Vessel View gauge there, and it gives them all the information they want. Oh, have a look at this, Maritimo 11 just dropping into someone's wash here, just trying to pick up. So that's Andrew and Ross Willerton there, just having a look up the inside of one of the other competitors. We'll try and pick up who that is for you at the moment, but this boat is super, super quick. Had a win yesterday. And it looks as though we've just got word that 222 just in front of them there. So they're trying everything that they can do to get over the 222 machine. This boat is an absolute rocket. It'd be certainly suited to these conditions today. And Andrew and Ross have had a lot of drama with this boat. Last season it just wasn't the boat they wanted it to be. It wasn't handling properly. They couldn't get it to go. All the pieces of the puzzle were there to say that this should have been a super, super quick boat, but they couldn't get it right. This season, they've turned all that around. That boat is absolutely flying. Not as quick as this one at the moment, though. Maritimo 12, race leader Tom Barry-Cotter and Stevie Jellick. We see Tom, of course, son of the owner of Maritimo Cruises, Mr. Bill Barry-Cotter, and one of the grandfathers of offshore powerboat racing in this country. And these guys have been racing together for quite some time in this championship now. Steve Jellick, of course, one of the best going around. He's cut his teeth on small little outboard boats, bullet boats, and tunnel boats, and then moved his way up through the categories into offshore, and now he's in the biggest category in Australia, and he does a beautiful job. He's absolutely Mr. Reliable, Steve Jellick. We even call him in Australia now. He's a Kiwi, but we've adopted him and we're letting him stay because we like him. He's a good bloke. Tom Barry-Cotter just looks very casual on the wheel, doesn't he? Just working it there a little bit, doing a good job. Kenny Tree, the fleet imaging entry, just coming through there, KKR Transport. And then it's the big Blue Roo racing for Lockie, and it's Carl Wall and, of course, Brett Lerman. This boat looks absolutely fantastic. It was great to have Brett back from his international commitments with XCAT, racing here at Lake Macquarie this weekend, Marmong Point Marina, and big Les Binkin. Big thank you to him, doing a fantastic job out there. On board again with the KKR Transport while the battle goes on in front of these guys. This is an enthralling battle to not end up in last place. So action continues here at Lake Macquarie, and the action is hotting right up. We'll be back real soon. Welcome back to Lake Macquarie for Destination New South Wales for round number 2, race number 2 of the Australian Offshore Superboat Championships, and we have got a battle on our hands. Maritimo number 12 out in front. There's the gap, first, second and third. Back to 222, Darren Nicholson and Peter McGrath, and the Maritimo 11 with the Willerton boys having a look up the inside again. They are desperately trying to find just something to work with here. The Catherine Hill Bay, Darren Nicholson, he's a local. He lives just across the other side of the lake. You can nearly see his house in that shot, and he wants to do well here for his sponsors and for his fans and even his friends and family that are here watching him race this weekend. Big Peter Muddy McGrath, he's got the sticks down, hard down. There is absolutely no jumping out of the water going on here today. Conditions not smooth, but just enough for the boats to just skip across the top. The propellers aren't coming out of the water, so the throttle men really being able to keep the sticks down and keep the boats moving forward, not having to come off the throttles when the propellers come out of the water. This is the other enthralling battle that's going on in Supercat Extreme. Team Australia on the inside of the right-hand dogleg here, and of course KKR Transport. Kenny Tree there with Travis Thompson, the hardest working man in offshore powerboat racing, just on the throttles of this KKR Transport machine. We go on board Team Australia there. You can see them to the left of screen, and it is absolutely on. as it is in the Supercat outboard category. 88 has put its nose in the front. 88 Power Zone with Michael and Griffith L just poking their nose in front of the Hog's Breath. I'll tell you what, have a look at Mickey Walker's hands. They're cattle farmer hands. They make the steering wheel look like a 20-cent piece. He's a monster of a man, and they are working hard. It's interesting just watching them in the corner. In actual fact, I chatted to the guys in the pits prior to the race and after race number 1, and they are still having a little bit of trouble getting this boat turned in. It's a brand new setup. It is a brand new boat. It's a brand new hull design, so this is all new to these guys, and they're still trying to get set up into this boat. But I tell you what, the setup must be pretty good because they are running at the front of the pack in this beautiful green machine, the Hog's Breath. You can see them just tipping in. A couple of right-hand dog legs on this Lake Macquarie course. It's quite a tight and technical course, and it's all about acceleration here. You can see now back to the left again. Mickey really working the wheel hard there. Faulty, well, he's on the throttles. He's just got to hammer down and making it happen for him. So this is the battle from the outside. So we've got a 25-footer, the 88 Power Zone on the inside, running the 2.5 litre V6 Mercury two-stroke engines, and on the outside of them, the 29-foot Hog's Breath machine. That's running the 3.2 litre Mercury V6 Stroker Optimax engine. So quite different combinations, but the parity between these two boats at the moment is absolutely unbelievable. You can see Mickey just looking across at the Power Zone. The Power Zone obviously off to their left as we just look at the replay there, and both boats getting a little bit dancy in the corners here. In fact, the Hog's Breath a little bit of a bite as they come through, but this is incredibly close racing in the Supercat outboard category. TCR took the win in yesterday's race. There they are on the inside as Maritimo 12, race leader of the Supercat Extreme category, goes past. And as I say that, we go on board with TCR. So Scotty Richardson, the caterer from Melbourne, the chef, he cooks you the best food you could ever want, this guy, and he can pretty handy on the wheel of a race boat as well, with Steve Kelly, of course, very, very experienced campaigner. A lot of people that follow offshore powerboat racing will know Steve from his Colonel racing days. They were, of course, the owners of the Colonel race boat. Steve's had a little bit of time off offshore powerboat racing, but he's straight back into the cockpit now with Scott, and of course racing against his brother Matthew, who is running in the Saracen machine with Anthony DeFina. They're struggling a little bit for pace in the Saracen today, as we see the 222 just come around the outside of TCR. In fact, TCR just getting caught up in the spray from the big boats now, and a little bit going on in the corners there. Obviously 222 just coming in and then drifting back out again as they pull away. So these are outboard boats running around about 106 to 108 miles an hour. The big boats running up into about that 120 mile an hour category. So here we go, on board with the Power Zone, and these guys are working pretty hard. They've also got some boats coming up behind them now as well. So the big boats trying to catch these guys. They've been past the TCR boat, and we might just keep an eye out. We might see them come through in just a moment because it's getting very, very close. Yep, there they are, 222 now. So you'll see the Maritimo on the inside. Maritimo on the inside, 222. Oh, big hose off there for the Power Zone. They've had to get right out of it. Mickey Ethel, he's working the wheel hard. You've got to be so careful not to get blown over in the rooster tail of these big boats when they came through. And very, very wet occasion there for the 88 Power Zone. Dealt with it well, and they continue on, and the battle continues between them and, of course, on the outside, we can't see them at the moment, but the Hog's Breath still right there as well. So Mickey and Griffith L, they can taste victory here. They've just had a little windscreen wash down. I think they thought that they needed just to tidy that windscreen up a little bit, and they certainly have done that. So through they come. You can see them taking some big hits as well, as you can see the camera just jolting there, and the boys working very hard. Mickey hard on the wheel. You can see his hand just flicking there just down in the bottom right hand side of your screen. And if you have a look in the centre of the dashboard there, you can actually see the rear camera working there as well, so they can see what's going on. But have a look at this. Gunnel to gunnel, side by side, deck to deck racing between the two shifty cats. The little 25-footer on the inside, the 29-footer, the Hog's Breath on the outside. And this is enthralling, intense racing here. Round number 2 of the Australian Offshore Superboat Championship. Oh, backs right out of the throttle there. And Griff just obviously trying to get the boat turned in nice and tight. They're trying to run hard on the pins here. You can see the turn buoy to their port side or the left-hand side of your screen, and the boys just getting it turned in nice and tight. It is quite a sharp corner. Now we can see Marmong Point Marina across to your right side, and they come up through into the dogleg. They need to be careful here to leave room for Hog's Breath. Hog's Breath gets a hose off from the power zone as well. So there is jostling and jockeying for position all over the track at the moment between inboards and outboards. Mickey having a point, saying we want to get over there. Don't point at it, Mick, just do it, son. You're the one with the steering wheel. So Folsey still hard on the sticks at the moment, and this is an incredible battle between these two shifty catamarans. This boat absolutely brand spanking new, out of the mould only a few weeks ago, and it's a credit to the team to have got this boat not only together and out here racing, but right at the pointy end of the pack, just straight off the cuff. Very experienced campaigners, of course. Mick has run the Phantom boat around for many, many years. They found that boat was a little bit short in the rougher conditions. This particular boat is longer, but it's also wider, so in theory it'll trap more air under the boat, get it up on top of the water, and actually go faster than the small boat. And, well, it looks like it's almost proven here at the moment. You can see a really interesting shot there of the Maritimo 12. See the rudder down the middle of the tunnel there. The rudders in these boats use just as much air pressure to turn as they use water pressure to turn. So you can see the same there with the 222, but you can see the difference there. Nothing in the tunnel of the Maritimo 11 because it runs the twin Mercury number 6 outdrives. Then we've got our race leaders in the Supercat outboard category just following up through this field here. So this is the battle for the lead. Still Maritimo 12 doing it very, very nicely indeed. This is race number 2, round number 2 of the Australian Offshore Superboat Championships for Destination New South Wales. 222 hot on their clack. Maritimo 12 just going through there now, and we go on board, and Big Stevie Jelly still hard on the throttles. Tom Barry Cotter just having a look in the mirrors there. Really hard to see out the backs of these boats. They've got the mirrors on them, but basically all they really see is rooster tail out the backs of these machines. So they really need to be, it's a whole team game. They're talking to each other. They are linked up by intercom. And it's really important that driver and throttle man are in constant communication. Both of them looking in their mirrors, both of them looking outside the cockpit and just making sure that there's room for everybody, racing room. So, Hog's Breath on the outside. They are only about a boat length down on the 88 power zone. Mickey and Griffith L. There's Mick Walker and Paul Foles. We go on board with those guys again. A little bit of sun glare for these guys too. You can see through the cockpit windscreen there, and that'll be making things just a little bit difficult as well. Mick just looks like he's found a nice cafe up the top end of the course. He's just pointing that out to Foles. He's saying, oh, mate, we might head off there for a cappuccino a little bit later on. See that one up there? It looks nice. Down we go through the bottom turn, and Mickey doing a great job. Simrad, that's a sad sight. Unfortunately, we had Tay and Consolidate running this weekend, and after an absence, we haven't seen them for quite a few races after their rollover. Unfortunately, it looks like something's gone wrong with the boat there, and our one lady driver, the prettiest driver in the whole fleet, unfortunately heading back to Marmong Point Marina. Hopefully they can get that boat sorted out for race number 3 here at beautiful Lake Macquarie as we go back on board with the 11. Absolutely stunning looking boat. The cockpit on this boat is just beautiful, isn't it? It looks menacing. It looks fast just sitting there. And the boys working overtime at the moment. And running in third spot still. They've still got the 222 in front of them. And it is absolutely overtime. Ross and Andrew Willerton really looking for just some way to try and get around this 222 boat. It's such a short, tight little track that passing opportunities are few and far between here at Lake Macquarie. And the guys just trying to find something, just searching for anything. As we go to the head of the pack and we see the Maritimo 12, they're running very, very tight lines here. As you can see them right on the boys there. They don't want anyone sneaking up the inside. And we come out and we've just got word that they are on their last lap. 222. Have a look at 222 coming at them hard, but I tell you what, I'm not sure whether they're going to get there. Checkered flag will come out as we come through the dogleg. You'll see it there, the Hog's Breath finish boat. 222 runs the tight line on the dogleg. Maritimo 12 takes the win. Tom Barry Cotter and Steve Jellick. Well done, gentlemen. That was a great race from those boys. And, of course, the local hero in Darren Nicholson in the team 222, along with his throttle man Peter Muddy McGrath into second place. I think he'll be reasonably happy with that. Race win after a race-long battle goes to the Hog's Breath over the 88 power zone. There'll be nothing in this And there you go, Folesy. Mickey shakes his hand. Folesy's pretty happy with that. Folesy comes, of course, from a long line of offshore powerboat races. Saracen comes through and completes the course along with TCR, so just getting in over the top of TCR. Then it's the KKR Transport. So let's have a look at Supercat Extreme as they finished up. Maritimo 12 taking the win, 222, Maritimo 11, Team Australia 2, just over the KKR Transport. Supercat outboard results, and it was a real battle, wasn't it? Hog's Breath taking the win, only just over the 88 power zone. Then it was back to the two Victorian boats, Saracen, TCR Offshore, and unfortunately for SUV Simrad, a DNF next to their name. And in the 100-mile-an-hour invitational category, it was the boys from Nispro, Dave Simmons and Stewie Ralph, doing a fantastic job with their supercharged Yamaha power.
Yeah, certainly an improvement. Getting a good start is obviously a key to this track. It's very, very hard to overtake. There's, two left and right-handers in the course. So, I think we counted in race one, we crossed 222's Rooster Tail. Probably it was about 26, 27 times in the whole race. So, makes for a very challenging race when you've got to do that. So obviously if you're up front with clean water, it's all just about making sure you don't make any mistakes and looking after the gear.
It was very hard. Wasn't many seconds between first, second and third, and it's a hard track to go past anybody, but yeah, it's busy. Fastest half hour I've ever had.
Yeah, we missed the start, and I think we were propped a little bit too tall with the extra fuel load. That was a concern for us, whether we go down a size with the extra fuel load for the two races or stay where we are. We went the devil we knew. I think we should have probably gone to 32, but in all, we missed the start a little bit, and then Darren just made his boat really wide. We got alongside him a little bit, bumped him, and we tried hard, and he kept the door shut. So it's a pretty difficult track actually to pass on. So it is what it is.
Yeah, no, we had a good run. We had a fair battle with 88. It was a really good run actually till about the last lap, and a bit of rough water suited us a little bit up there on the top corner, and it changed from yesterday. We were down a bit on pace, but we fixed a little thing overnight and everything's happy, and it's good. She's all going good.
Yeah, it was a good battle. Had a little fight there with Hog's Breath. Tried to keep them out for the duration of the race, but they got us there at the end. A little bit of ugly water, and their slightly bigger boat gave them a bit more performance. So we'll chase them in the next one.
Yeah, it was a good run. Probably can't keep up with the other boats this year. We've got a bit more testing and playing to do, but we're getting there slowly. Good new steering, so we're getting used to that as well. So, yeah, good run.
Plenty of things to do and see here at beautiful Lake Macquarie in the Hunter Valley, and I tell you what, us and the team have really enjoyed the hospitality of the locals and getting around town and seeing all the beautiful sights. Plenty to eat, plenty to drink, and plenty of beautiful sights to see here in the Hunter Valley. So we certainly thank the Hunter Valley, and in particular Marmong Point Marina and Destination New South Wales for all their wonderful support here this weekend. The Offshore Superboat Championships absolutely loves coming here and racing. And we have boats lifting themselves. Oh, and it's a short start and it's a quick start. In fact, the Catherine Hill Bay 222 gets an absolute cracker of a start. I didn't see the flag go down, but Gibbsy's let them go, and it is on like Donkey Kong. It's a little bit of a messy one with a couple of boats out the back door. There may be discussion about that one after this. Thank crikey, so I'm not going to be in the judges' tent after this one. But let's have a look at who has got the best start. It's the KKR and the 222 as they come up into turn number one. 222 and KKR, Kenny Tree. He just drops into the 222's wash. They just leave him a little bit of respectful room there. On the outside of them, Team Australia having a red hot dip at him as well. It is going on here at Lake Macquarie in turn number one. There's boats, helicopters and people everywhere. This is what offshore powerboat racing's all about. Kenny Tree and Travis Thompson, they have found themselves in the absolute thick of it with a cracking start. They were right on the number there, and they chased the local hero 222 down into turn number one. The battle is on in the Supercat outboards with the 88 Power Zone taking the lead early, back to the Hulk. Then you've got the TCR, then it's Saracen. You can see these boys running on pole with the TCR on the outside of them. This is an incredible battle. And Nispro on the far outside of those guys. You can see the white cockpit of the supercharged Yamaha boat just storming up the front straight away as well. So this is absolutely on. You couldn't even throw a postage stamp over these boats at the moment. Andy DeFina and Matt Kelly trying to get in front of Matt's brother Steve in the TCR, along with Scotty Richardson on their starboard side, and a couple of boats in front of them, which will be the Hulk and the 88 Power Zone. The Nispro machine with lots and lots of acceleration and lots of horsepower from those 4-stroke supercharged Yamaha engines. Oh, Saracen just gets a little bit wonky in the corner, has a little bit of a drift. It is really going on all over the course. So the Catherine Hill Bay 222 entry has popped its nose into the lead. Peter McGrath and Darren Nicholson have got a little bit of a break now on Team Australia 2, but Team Australia 2 are being absolutely attacked. We've got KKR just coming through the right dogleg, and then the two Maritimo boats, they will be spitting chips at the moment, the two Maritimo teams. They did not get good starts. So down through the bottom turn we go, and you can see Marmong Point Marina just to your right hand side. And we are on with Steve Jellick and Tom Barry Cotter. And I tell you what, desperation now, as you see him just come off the throttle. Tom just having a look. Let's have a look at turn number 1, the replay here. You can see the 222. They've got a couple of boat links over the KKR transport, and they leave, probably about a boat width, if that was it. Nice, tight, close racing in the Supercat Extreme category. 88 offshore now. Mickey and Griffith L, they have been an absolute sensation this weekend in this little 25-foot shifty catamaran. It's the smallest boat in the fleet of Supercat outboards, and they are working absolutely overtime. Conditions have got a little bit rougher now this afternoon. The breeze has come through, and we're starting to see the water just standing up a little bit. Probably not going to cause too much of an issue to the bigger boats, but with the smaller boats, this might really start to play into the hands of the slightly bigger outboard boats as they go around now, in particular the TCR, the Saracen, and probably the Hulk as well, which is the Hog's Breath Hulk. So we've got KKR and the Big Blue Roo racing for Lockie, just getting it done on the outside, and now a hard-charging Maritimo 11, the Willerton boys, just with their teeth gritted and just pushing hard, trying to sneak up the inside now of these two other boats in the KKR transport and the Blue Roo, and you can see it's very, very tight there. You can see the Rooster Tail on the outside. I think that's probably KKR at the moment, and we'll just try and pick them up as they come through. Boat just ran a little bit wide there as well. So down through the bottom, and you can see the wind coming through and blowing the white caps up on the course. The 222 Catherine Hill Bay entry, Nicholson and McGrath out in front. You can see Darren Nicholson's house from this shot. He lives here. He wants to do well here, and a win in this race would be the ultimate in offshore powerboat racing for him. All his friends, families, clients, they're all here watching him. And to do well here would mean everything to Darren Nicholson. Peter McGrath, look at him. He looks like he's relaxed, but I'll give you the tip. He's just absolute 100% concentration. They've got the lead. They've got clear water in front of them. The other interesting thing that I did take note of on Friday here was one Todd Kelly from the Nissan V8 Supercar team did have a run in that boat. Can't say too much, not sure what's going to be happening, but keep your eye on this space in future races, I reckon, ladies and gentlemen. We go on board now. Brett Lerman to your left of screen and Carl Wall to your right. Oh, look at the boat. Plenty of opposite lock on the boat there. Carl Wall really with the elbows up. He's working hard. He's driving it like he's driving a little 1750 Bullet out there in a circuit boat race at the moment. Absolutely working overtime and nearly knocking Lerman out with his elbows. He's working that hard. So that is how physical and how tough it is in these big boats, and it is very, very tight racing. These guys are coming from behind. A bad start for Andrew and Ross Willerton. Roscoe will be absolutely spitting chips about that one, but now he's just desperately trying to make up some ground. It looks as though he has overhauled the the Big Blue Roo there, and also the KKR Transport, but they've still got a lot of work to do. They've got 222 out in front. Hog's Breath, they've poked their nose into the lead of the Super Cat outboard category, but have a look at the little pesky little Power Zone rocket ship up the inside, the 2.5 litre Mercs with Michael and Griffith L. They are absolutely working overtime in this boat. You can see it just dancing from sponsor to sponsor, and this is absolutely on in the outboard category. I tell you what, no holds barred here now. This is the final race of the weekend, and it is time for desperate teams to try and put some points in the bag. In fact, Saracen lurking there as well, just up the inside. Saracen go from pole 3 into pole 1 and just make sure that the TCR boat doesn't try and sneak up the inside of them. So Saracen, nice move from them. That puts them on the inside now of the 88, but they're going to need some pace if they're going to be able to put their nose up in there and try and sneak up the inside. But the Saracen boat, as we go on board now, you can see the Rooster Tails, and this is fantastic racing, respectful racing from all the crews there. We've got Mickey Walker on the inside just steering the Hog's Breath machine, and on the outside Michael and Griffith L just leaving enough room for the Saracen there as he jumps in there, Wash, and in fact has a look at the inside now of the Hog's Breath. But I just don't think that they've got the pace in this boat to try and stuff it up the inside there, but time will tell. This Hog's Breath machine is super quick, but it is struggling a little bit in the corners at the moment, whereas we know the Saracen is an experienced campaigner. Well, stick around, folks. We'll be back really shortly with more fantastic action from Lake Macquarie. Welcome back as the action is hotting up here on beautiful Lake Macquarie for Destination New South Wales. You can see the wind is whipping the water up into whitecaps now, and we are watching the Super Cat outboard category. Absolutely title fight going on here at the moment with the Hog's Breath just out in front of the Power Zone. In fact, the Hog's Breath have probably made a little bit of ground on the previous lap, and then the 88 Offshore Power Zone entry have just dropped back around about 4 or 5 boat lengths now. So Michael and Griffith L have just got a little bit of work to try and do here, and this is looking very, very menacing. The green machine, the Hulk, looks like it is going to be an absolute threat. This is only its first weekend of racing, and already it is leading some very, very experienced campaigners with very well set up boats. That's not to say that the boat crew in the Hog's Breath Hulk aren't equally as talented and experienced in this form of offshore powerboat racing, because they certainly are. Mick Walker and Paul Folds, you wouldn't get much more experience than these two guys. It's just a brand new boat for them. They're still getting their heads around it. Look out the rest of you crews when you do, because I tell you what, you think this thing's fast now, it's only going to get stronger and stronger. The green machine charges its way down the front straight away. We just picked up the NSW boys here doing a nice job in the 450 horsepower. Oh, hang on a second, what's happened here? This is Maritimo 12. This is Tom Barry Cotter and Steve Jellick. Disaster for Team Maritimo. You can see Tom Barry Cotter just wheeling the boat into the centre of the course. Jellick just shakes his head a little bit. They have had a failure in the Maritimo 12. Devastating for Team Maritimo. And Jellick and Barry Cotter not happy with that one at all. So disappointment there for Team Maritimo, but they still have one boat running in the field, which is the Maritimo 11. Let's see if they can fly the flag for Team Maritimo. Now, we were just discussing David Simons and Stewie Ralph in the boat that you can see to your left of screen, which is the NSW entry. This boat's running the pair of supercharged 4-stroke. These guys actually competed in there was a poker run on Saturday afternoon here at Lake Macquarie, organised by my old mate Alex Ross. Big shout out to him, raising money for MS. So they did a fantastic job with the poker run, had 50 boats running and raised about $25,000. So big shout out to all the poker runners, including the boys from NSW that got involved and got out there. Then they were invited to do the race here today by the Offshore Superboat Championship. So they said, hey, why not? Let's go racing. So it's great to have them out there running in their own category at the moment, just as an experience level type of arrangement. 100 mile an hour category due to the fact that they're rookies, but they're out there running around, and I tell you what, I spoke to them a little bit earlier on, and they had such a ball in race number 2, and I'm sure they're doing the same in race number 3. I reckon we'll see them next season in the full championship. Let's hope so, folks. Hog's Breath comes through. So race leader still in the Super Cat outboard category, and they are being chased by these blokes, the father-son combination of Michael and Griff Athal. You can see the camera in the middle of the dash there, copping such a pounding that it's dropping in and dropping out there. Just this boat really copping a hiding. Now, it is getting quite sloppy for the smaller boat, and these guys doing an incredible job to keep the gear together and keep going, and they are pushing on very, very hard. If you have a look over at the tachometers there, round about 7,300 RPM out of these little fuel-injected 2.5 litre two-stroke Mercury race engines on the transom of this 25-foot shifty catamaran. So really working the gear to the absolute max. Griff, of course, one of the top mechanics in Australia, particularly with these style of engines, and just loves building them, loves racing them, and the boat is immaculately prepared. Race leader now, Super Cat Extreme, and have a look at this. So this is what's happening on the course at the head of the pack. 222 out in front, Darren Nicholson and Peter Money McGrath, but they have got an angry, hard-charging Willerton family arrangement coming from behind them in the Maritimo 11. They're on home territory. Nicholson desperately wants to win here in front of his home crowd. So this is going to get really, really interesting, folks. It is going to come down to the wire the way things are going at the moment. We go on board now with Kenny Tree in only his 3rd ever offshore powerboat race, the KKR Transport entry. Kenny, of course, the director of KKR Transport, along with Travis Thompson, the hardest working man in offshore powerboat racing, on the throttles of this boat. And you can see a few hand signals going backwards and forwards there from Travis, and Kenny just working overtime on the wheel. Ken, a very experienced water ski racer and also circuit boat racer, and now trying his hand in offshore superboats as well. So what a great man, doing a fantastic job. And the battle between this boat here, which is running in 2nd place, Andrew and Ross Willerton, and the boat that you can't see but it's just in front of them at the moment, the 222, Darren Nicholson and Peter McGrath. So a bad start for these guys, but it just shows the pace that this boat has at the moment, because they have come from literally last on the course, fought their way up through the field, and are now running in a very, very tight 2nd place. 88 Racing, the Power Zone machine just down the back chute. They're still chasing down the Hulk machine, and following them is the Niz Pro, and of course the Saracen sneaks through, and then it's Team Australia racing for Lockie with Carl Wall and Big Bretty Lerman. We go on board with the Hog's Breath Hulk and Big Mickey Walker. He could hold that steering wheel with one hand, I reckon. He could just grab it like a dinner plate. He's got the biggest hands in offshore powerboat racing. He's a cattle farmer from Queensland, and I tell you what, probably the nicest bloke in offshore powerboat racing. He's just a very casual, laid-back cat, but when he's out on the water, he loves his racing. He's also tried his hand at a little bit of water ski racing as well, and Big Mickey just loves it. He loves getting out there and really enjoys the competition, and I tell you what, he's built a beautiful boat. Oh, the KKR boat. I just noticed as they came through, the hatch on the top of the canopy was flapping. Hopefully that doesn't cause them a problem. It just started moving around a bit there as I saw it come through. Probably not absolutely critical, but we'll just keep an eye on that one, because if that comes off, they could ingest salt water into those engines and could have all sorts of problems. So let's hope that the KKR doesn't have any issues. As Team Australia comes through, and they are just rounding up around. Look, I tell you what, how quick is the Hog's Breath? Team Australia not actually making massive ground on this little green rocket ship at the moment, and that just gives you an idea of how fast that little rocket is. The 29-footer with the 3.2 litre Mercury Optimax strokers on the back. They are holding off one of the big boats at the moment. I'm sure once the big boat gets wound up down the straight, they'll go around. In fact, Carl Wall just has a look across there. They've got to be careful in the big boats not to cut the little boats off as well. They really need to be aware of where they're at on the course, and not to have a problem with the smaller boats. As we've said earlier, it is very, very hard to see out the backs of these boats. The mirrors, they're there, but mostly all you see is rooster tail, so they need to be quite careful and leave lanes for the smaller boats as well. That boat looks like it's just a little bit nervous in the corners to me. Carl having to make corrections there. It looks like it's just sliding a little bit, and he's having to grab it back in the corners. So interesting whether they're... Oh, what's happened here? The boat that was challenging for 2nd place has dropped out of the race. That's 2 Maritimo Maritimo's Gonski. Unbelievable stuff. Maritimo 11, Ross and Andrew Wellington. They will be absolutely livid with this as the hatch goes open. I tell you what, it wasn't opened gently. It was thrown open. They are not happy. That boat has come to a stop on the course. Well, that moves the Australia 2 boat up into second place, and it moves these guys up into podium position. KKR Transport up into third at the moment, and this race is winding down. We are getting close to an end of this one as the Hog's Breath fires its way down the back chute, and the Triple Two, well, they've been challenged absolutely everywhere, but now they've got clear water in front of them and behind them, and Darren Nicholson and Peter McGrath, they come through and take the win in the Triple Two on the home territory. They'll be absolutely ecstatic with that. The crowd is wrapped for Darren Nicholson. I'm sure he'll be very, very happy indeed with that win. And as we see him pull up and just gives Big Muddy a pat on the leg. Muddy's singing about where he's going to go for dinner tonight now, and they come off, shutting the systems down, and Nicholson, he will be very happy with that. So, fantastic effort there for Lockie as we get Carl Wall and Brett Lerman, boat number 8, Team Australia 2, come across the line in podium position. They'll be happy with that one and got the job done. Super reliability. Had a few issues with this boat over the weekend. The team worked brilliantly to keep it on the water, and lots of these races and lots of these podiums are certainly won and lost in the workshops and the garages and the pit areas. This boat has been a sensation. The Hog's Breath comes through. Mickey Walker, Paul Folds, absolutely smashing. And I tell you what, the other teams in this category are going to go, wowee, what are we going to have to do to beat this thing in the future, because it is a rocket ship. 88 Power Zone, Mickey and Griffith L, a fantastic weekend for them. The Nisbro comes through just in front of the Saracen. Saracen will pick up third place there. So let's have a look at the results. Supercat Extreme, Triple Two Offshore taking the win. Team Australia 2, KKR Transport 4th, Maritimo 11, and DNF for Maritimo 12. In our Supercat outboard category for Destination New South Wales, Hog's Breath takes the win, then back to the Power Zone. Saracen picking up third place, TCR Offshore and SUV Simrad, unfortunately a DNS in that particular race. The Invitational 100 mile an hour category, it was Nispro with Dave Simmons and Stewie Ralph doing a fantastic job in the big supercharged Yamaha.
3 years we've been coming to Lake Macquarie, and for the last 2 we've always had engine issues, but Pete, Muddy, Gazza, Mark, all the boys, the girls, fantastic job. The boat was great, reliable, strong, so it was great. Finally to get one home at Lake Macquarie.
We had some niggling issues, first time we've been back in the boat for a year, and it just got better and better and better, and we picked up that 500 RPM we've been looking for. The boat felt great, the crews worked really hard. As you know, we had trouble yesterday, we had a little bit of trouble this morning, and now the final race, so we're satisfied with the effort. It was great.
No, it's been a good day. I mean, I must firstly thank Travis, because Travis is the one that got us there, I must admit. He was teaching me the whole way. Been a fairly big weekend for me, the first time in it, so I want to thank Travis. He's guided me through the whole lot. I hated getting past with the Team Australia. I'm very competitive, but anyway, it is what it is. And, you to win, you got to get there at the end to get something. So
it is. We had a big day yesterday, and we thought, oh, how's this thing going to go? And it roughed up today, and Mick got his handle on his steering, and we could get into the corners and really hook it through. So very happy with the whole weekend. It's been a fabulous weekend for everybody, I think.
Michael and I did a real superb job out there for the weekend, and we had very testing conditions, and the little boat went extremely well, and we certainly have a grid. Having 3 seconds, we certainly can't complain about that.
Race 2, we decided to get stuck into it a bit more than the first one, and came out third place and sort of sat on the leaders. Speed limited to 100, so sort of didn't really have an opportunity to pass guys down the straights and so on, but had an absolute blast.
Well, great racing here at Lake Macquarie, round number 2. And after round number 2, let's have a look at the points. Supercat Outboard Hog's Breath on 405, back to Power Zone 384, and Saracen 192, so not much at the head of the pack there. Supercat Extreme after round number 2, and we've got Triple Two sitting nicely on top of the table there, back to Maritimo 11, then Maritimo 12, and the KKR Transport in 4th position at the moment. And the overall championship, Oz 1. It is 222 offshore, back to Hog's Breath, Power Zone, Maritimo 11, then Maritimo 12, KKR Transport and Saracen with a little bit of work to do. So that wraps up the penultimate round of the Australian Offshore Superboat Championships here at Lake Macquarie for Destination New South Wales and Big Leslie Binkin at the Marmong Point Marina. We certainly hope you had a great time. The next stop for the circus is beautiful Harvey Bay in Queensland. We'll hope to see you there.